Good afternoon, beautiful beings of light. Welcome to the Crone Zone and Conversations with the Ancients. I'm Priscilla. I'm a light worker and a Crone. Last Tuesday, we discussed 3D versus 5D energy. 5D dimensional energy is unconditional love, which equals oneness, which equals unity consciousness, which is what we're going to talk about today. But first, I'd like to introduce you to Heather and her cards.
Hi, I'm Heather. I am also a crone and a light worker and a psychic medium and a card reader. So let's take a look at...
You also see ghosts.
That's right, I do see ghosts.
She sees my deceased husband quite frequently, as in like this morning.
Yeah, he's just sitting there waiting for you. I'm going, huh? You can't see anything, but it's there. Okay, so let's go ahead and shuffle the cards up and take a look at what we've got here.
I hope you all are having a beautiful Saturday afternoon.
Yes.
Hi, James and David, listening from the car. The pearls were a gift from a friend of mine from Hong Kong. I love these pink pearls. Obviously, pink and purple happen to be my favorite colors.
Yes. Yes. And purple shows up real good on this.
It does.
So I'll pick out 6 cards for the reading.
Return of Spirit. I love these cards. They're beautiful.
Mm-hmm. And it's, Cheryl Lee Harnish. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And this is the first one. Integrity. Love. Confidence. Sexuality. Recognition and change of mind.
Interesting.
Yeah. Let's see. Let me take a look for a minute. Okay, what I'm getting from this is that we all have, the issue is our integrity. But sometimes we lose the integrity when love enters. You do what that person loves or what a group is loving to do rather than what you want to do. That is
Ooh, that's so true, isn't it?
Yeah. So while you're fighting with yourself about your integrity and your love, your soul is still saying, I'm confident that I'm going to be okay. And your physical body is taking wing on acting things out, like sexuality or that's actually doing something. So your body is still trying to do things. Your integrity is having trouble with its love. Spirit is okay. What you need to do is recognize that they're getting in the way, and that integrity is what you need, and you don't want to act just on love but on the integrity. And
Wow.
if you have that recognition of that problem, the end result is you'll change your mind back to integrity.
Wow, that's pretty intense.
Yeah, it's pretty heavy. Yes.
Yeah, interesting reading.
Yes, but it's everything that's happening.
Absolutely it is.
We have to remember our integrity, because we're always having the confidence that we need, but sometimes we don't take the actions that we should.
That's very true.
Yeah.
So today we're going to talk about oneness. And what is oneness? It's that feeling of connectedness to everything, to people, animals, nature, spirit. That sense of love and compassion and respect that you have for humanity and nature. Mm-hmm. Just imagine that you are the universe. Everything around you is love and joy and peace and happiness.
And part of you.
And part of you. There's no space or time. There's no past or future. Just the now, just the love, just the peace and the joy. That's oneness.
And we, well, all of us, are part of the consciousness or the oneness when we're expressing ourselves in different ways or different forms at different parts of our lives or times of our evolution. As humans,
I think it does that mean that in different lifetimes we've done different things and had different goals and that
yes,
sort
but
of.
even in this lifetime, because when we start to change things, our goals become different.
True. That's true.
So
Yeah.
it could be either one. And as humans, we forget who we are. Remember our contracts that we had?
Your soul
We're
contracts.
Yeah, we forgot about all those things. And so we end up having to create an illusion of duality and separation. And
That's 3D.
that's 3D, yes. And it's those things, the duality and the separation, that cause our conflicts, our disagreements, and even war.
Exactly. So we have to somehow go beyond that mind, ego way of living and move into our heart space.
Right.
So how do we do that? This is where the awareness begins, when you can slip into that quiet space and just be and not worry about anything, just be. My go-to for that is definitely meditation. I find that the easiest way for me to get there.
And it is a very, very popular and basic way
Yes,
that
it
you
is.
can reach that.
Yeah.
Isn't it funny how meditation keeps coming up?
Yeah, I know. If you don't meditate, you might want to start. At least
a little
start
bit.
with 5 minutes.
Yeah.
5 minutes is good.
It teaches us to slow down.
It does.
And because it teaches us to slow down, there are a lot of people who have trouble with it because
Yes.
they're used to jumping from here to here to here to here to here to here. And they're not used to doing anything slow. But it does help us slow down.
Our lives are fast. Everything
true.
about what we do is fast. So,
That's true.
and we're told if you sit down, you're not being productive. So you're not supposed to be
Right.
quiet. You're not to slow
Right.
down because you're supposed to be busy doing this, being productive all the time.
I know, yeah. And it increases our self-awareness, who we are. We actually stop long enough to actually assess ourselves. And, oh, you know what? This doesn't feel quite right. Maybe we ought to take a look at it.
Exactly.
Because you're
Absolutely.
ignoring all your aches and pains trying to get everything all done in the world.
That's true.
Yeah. And it helps us focus on the present. For instance, when I'm trying to meditate, I don't know how you do some of it, but everybody has their own way. For me, I count the same number of numbers going up in a breath, and I also think about going to source, and then the same breath coming back down and going to earth to
Interesting.
settle myself. But I'm so busy counting and making sure that it's all the same speed and all the same amount. I don't have time to listen to or think about anything in the future or anything that's happened during the day. I am in the present. And that meditation helps you to do that.
Absolutely. And that's also mindfulness.
That's right. Yes. And it increases your concentration and focus. I mean, think about it. The longer you meditate, the longer you're able to. And when you're talking about like studying, well, the longer you can study or meditate, it becomes easier to stay on that one subject for a longer amount of time. So it does help your focus and your concentration.
Yeah, that makes
Right.
sense.
And it reduces your stress and anxiety. Thankfully, I don't work anymore, but when I worked, I found out that it did me a world of good to come in the house from work, sit down in my office, and meditate. The rest of the day just went fine. And anything that bothered me just kind of dissipated. And it helps your mental clarity because it helps you relax. And when you relax, your brain can take over later because it had a chance to rest.
That's true.
So it does a really nice job. And it increases our creativity, and it does so much more than what we keep saying meditation does this and this and this. It does so much.
Most of you probably know that are already meditating, how wonderful the benefits are of meditation.
Right.
And the next way to do it is through mindfulness. And if you'll remember, we had a show on 3-8 about mindfulness. And what was the other one? Mindfulness, and I've forgotten the other word.
I don't remember.
But it doesn't matter. Mindfulness focuses on the here and now. And you can go back and watch that video if you want to know more about mindfulness. It's that obviously reduces stress and anxiety.
Right.
I really don't like to wash dishes. It's one thing that my entire life I have tried to avoid like the plague.
And I try to do as many as I can, but there are times when I'm out walking that she just automatically does
It
dishes.
doesn't matter. I've learned to do dishes through mindfulness, and I
Yes.
enjoy doing the dishes, believe it or not. I have actually come to a place where I'm
okay.
perfectly happy to do dishes. I like to see clean dishes. So,
Right. And an empty sink is nice. So we can get it all dirty again.
Exactly. So it focuses on the here and now. It reduces stress and anxiety because, believe it or not, washing dishes did cause me stress and anxiety. It also helps reduce rumination or rehashing events that have happened in the past that you just go on and on about and can't let go. Mindfulness is very good for that. And reducing emotional reactivity. I find that I look at things more objectively, maybe with a little bit more patience and compassion than I used to.
Yes.
As my best friend can tell you. And it also increases focus and concentration,
Well, I hope it's done the
which
same
is
for
good
me.
for me being ADD. So,
But another way of doing things is to go into to nature, because all of your senses are used in nature. Now, I'm going to describe things I used to do when I was working first, and then tell you how we handle everything now. Okay? So at first, I would do a lot of camping, like almost every other weekend, because it would get me, one, out of the house. Two, I would hike, and as I hiked, I would talk to myself, and I would solve things. But I could hear the birds, which I wouldn't hear otherwise, and I can smell the dirt sometimes, especially if it's been raining, or you can smell the rain in the tree leaves, and you feel like you're part of it.
you make me want to go for a walk in the
I know,
forest.
I know. It's fantastic. And if you happen to be near a river, which I was, you could hear the river flowing, and occasionally you'd come across a waterfall. And there were places where not only could you see it and hear it and smell the water, you're allowed to get in it.
I'm almost hearing and seeing it, just smelling it, listening to you.
It really helps me to decrease anxiety, and it improves your vitality. Let's face it, hiking and walking, that's good for you. And I didn't take the hard trails. I took the easy trails because I was usually talking to myself the whole time and listening and watching and looking around and seeing what had changed from one time to another and what flowers were coming up. You know, I was having a great time. And so it would also bring balance to my emotions because I could talk things out to myself or to the air or to the whatever's in nature.
To the squirrels, to the rabbits.
Exactly, to the birds. It doesn't matter. You got it
doesn't
talked
matter.
out, and it helped balance me. It enhances your meditative alertness because you're having to be alert to hear those birds or hear maybe a rustle from the wind. So,
Yeah.
And those are
Nowadays, we actually sit in our backyard. We live
Yes.
on an island, and the weather's pretty much always gorgeous.
And
we
the
have
lanai is just fantastic for being in nature.
it is. We have all kinds of different wild birds that fly through, and
We even have a bird that's set her nest up, so we can watch her
exactly
the whole time.
Yeah.
It's just nice to feel like we're part of it.
Last year, remember the orchid? We had an orchid hanging, and a pair of mourning doves
Yeah.
had two nests, raised their young, and then left. And this year they're now on our front porch in an airplane that's hanging from the ceiling.
Yes.
They've
But you
made
can
a
still see
home.
them if you look.
Yeah.
And it just soothes our senses to be out there.
And a saltwater pool. We have a saltwater pool. We're retired and we're taking life easy
Easier.
these days, much easier. And the saltwater pool is almost as good as being in the ocean.
Yeah, it's very
Stress relieving.
very therapeutic.
It
And of
is.
course, Priscilla loves to garden.
Got to get my hands in the dirt.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then one of the things I learned is don't water things because that's her joy. Leave her alone.
That's true.
Now, she's gone on water, but otherwise I won't water. I like to sit and watch the clouds go by and see what kind of shapes they make. And I like to listen to the birds. Especially I love to watch those birds have their babies. And watch them feed them. And it's just very relaxing to
It
be on the
is.
lanai. You've got a little breeze and you're right in the middle of all the woods. And
And I feel so lucky that they choose us,
yes.
the energy around our house to have their babies in. I think that's
Right.
really neat.
They never get nervous or upset when we walk by, and we'll say hello to them, and they just sit there.
Pretty neat.
Yes, it is.
So another way that you can open yourself up is sacred plant medicine. This I would recommend serious experienced healers or shamans to do. There's ayahuasca and psilocybin and San Pedro, which I'm not familiar with, peyote, DMT, and THC. They open up and expand our consciousness. They can do physical as well as mental healing. I'm not familiar with ayahuasca or any of those heavy duty drugs, but I understand it can be very beneficial.
But you definitely want somebody who knows
Knows
about
what they're
it
doing.
and has done it before, who knows what it, so they can help you.
And it's a sacred event.
Exactly.
It's not something to play around with. This is sacred.
Exactly.
Let's see.
And you can find a community of like-minded people. And we've been very fortunate. We have found a tribe down here for us. Everybody's on their own path, in their own place, exactly where they should be. But it's fun to have somebody you can talk to. And I am more than lucky than most people because I have
We have
a
each
housemate.
other.
And we both believe very similarly as
Exactly.
far as this goes. And it's nice to be able to open up and say, well, this is what happened. And the person isn't saying, huh?
But if you don't have that at home, if your family members or the friends around you aren't really awakening yet, aren't experiencing the things that you have, no worries. There's plenty of people out on the internet that you can find. There's a ton of psychics, card readers, teachers,
Yoga classes and
instructors, even online,
Right,
on
and
YouTube,
meditative-
like us,
Right.
like Sun Psychic Jean that's joined us today. Hi, Jean. Thanks for coming.
thank you.
Beautiful people out there that can give you information and show you how.
How
To
they
start-
do things, and you get new ideas.
Yes.
You help each other in your progress and your principles of oneness. And you support each other in your journey. Everybody's different. There's no right or wrong. You're right where you should be at that time.
Absolutely.
And they sometimes hold new ideas and perspectives. I mean, you can think, oh, I didn't think of it like that before. Maybe I ought to.
Oh, I know. It's so easy to get stuck in your own,
Little rut.
yeah, your own box of thoughts.
And it helps dissolve those limiting beliefs that you've had all your life. You know, so you can't do this, you can't do that. Yes, you can. If that's what you think is the right thing to do.
But through all of these things, you also have to deal with the shadow work. And that's really integrating your subconscious in your conscious life. And that's not fun. It's
No.
not fun. I'll tell you, over the pandemic, we spent most of that time working on ourselves and growing our spiritual practices. There's all kind. You can do psychotherapy. You can do past life regressions. There are any number of ways that you can do shadow work on your own or with help.
Right.
You can heal ancestral and generational trauma, childhood traumas. It'll balance all aspects of your life out. I feel so much more grounded and in balance than I did 3 years ago, 2 years ago.
And I find that by doing this shadow work, I was able to go from not liking somebody to saying, they just did what they were supposed to do. It's fine.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's never something that's being done to you. It's usually about the other person anyway.
That and your contract.
And your contracts and the path that you're both on. So forgiveness and compassion for yourself as well as others, that's a big one. And you can only get that through doing the shadow work and realizing everybody has the same issues. Or different issues, but we all have issues in our tissues.
Right. And that will leave you to your self-love, which is having a compassion and acceptance of yourself. And I'm sure everybody, just like me, has heard it's not good enough, or you could do better. And it takes a long time to get rid of that and having your confidence build up and say, hey, I'm okay. And you're okay.
Exactly.
And sometimes it takes a long time to get rid of that feeling. And you get to celebrate your own freedom of whoever you are. No matter what anybody thinks, it's great to be who you are.
Our dog is walking through the studio right now. Let's hope nothing gets disconnected. Oh, are you through with self-love? Because I'm totally distracted now.
Okay. It does help. It improves your health and well-being. Because if you're happy, so are all your cells. And if your cells are happy, they're more likely to be healthy.
Absolutely.
So you stay
happy
healthy.
cells.
Happy cells.
I like that. Happy cells.
It improves your relationships because you understand a lot more and you're happy with yourself and you're a little more confident. It increases your self-confidence, of course. It gives you motivation and drive to go ahead and be you and do what you want to do. And it reduces your insecurities. And it does bring joy and happiness.
It absolutely does.
Yes.
I spent so much of my life frightened and depressed and miserable. I don't see those spells anymore. It's wonderful.
Thank goodness.
It's really wonderful not to... I guess the highs aren't as high and the lows aren't as low. It's more like you learn to surf the emotional highs and lows so that things...
Roller coaster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I call it surfing. I like to surf
it.
Surf the top of it.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
So oneness is an experience that transcends the ego where we feel a connection with everything on a soul level. So unity consciousness is oneness, which is unconditional love, which is 5D energy and the makeup of the universe.
Being with your tribe makes you feel oneness. Being out in nature makes you feel oneness.
It does.
Yeah.
Frequency that reaches beyond the self into the heart and souls of all beings in existence. Unity consciousness is waking up from the illusion of separation and knowing we are an infinite source consciousness. We are one with God. Source, all energy.
That's right.
So it manifests itself as a sense of oneness, compassion, love, and respect for both humans and nature alike. And I'd like to say that I think it has everything to do with the universe. When we work on the grid, we're grid workers, and when we work on the grid, we're sending out unconditional love and unity consciousness to the universe, to everywhere.
Not just Earth, but our Earth is our main focus, but it's also out to everybody out in the
Absolutely.
universe. Right.
So, I actually got some messages that I wanted to share with you. We are all an expression of God, the divine source energy. Our presence on earth is to express that love in order to bring joy into our lives as well as the collective consciousness. As we awaken and start acting from our heart center, that higher energy transfers to the collective, raising the frequency of the collective, which in turn helps raise the frequency of the individuals. Sending unconditional love and unity consciousness to Mother Earth, your loved ones, and your not so loved ones, helps raise the frequency and vibration to oneness for everybody. Remember, like begets like. You cannot create peace and harmony through the low vibrations of hate and war. Only love, the highest frequency of all, and that of 5D, can create love, peace, and harmony. Ooh, I got chills.
And before we take off, I will do one more card reading. And last week's was very, very good. So I will shuffle again and spread them out and let her pick a card, and we'll see where we're at.
Awesome. And next week, we're going to talk about starseeds and who they are.
Yeah.
And where they came from and how to recognize if you are one.
Exactly.
Because I think most of us that are awakening right now, I think we're all starseeds.
And if you're watching this, you're probably
a starseed if you're watching this.
Okay. And if you'll just pick any card, we'll see what it has to say.
Anybody in the chat room want a card? How about this one?
Okay, this one says Violet Flame. I'll put it up here where you can see it.
You have it. Ooh, what's the violet flame?
It has to do with your heart and how...
Your crown chakra maybe with the violet?
Yes, but it also has... Your heart is doing the thinking for your brain.
Ooh, I love that.
Everybody has that. And that violet flame, everybody has it, and as they shine it, everybody else gets it too. It's like sending out love, but it's that flame of light, and it's from.
That's lovely.
She's right. It's from your crown chakra, but it originates in your heart. So it all just goes out and spreads all of our oneness.
I love that.
So, yes, it's a really...
Great card for today.
It was a nice card for today.
That's fantastic. And, of course, purple and magenta, my favorite colors.
Oh, yeah, we're not wearing purple.
So we hope you enjoyed the show today. We did.
We did, yes. And please, if you did enjoy the show, click on either share or like or subscribe.
Or all three.
Or all three. Yes.
Thanks again, and we will see you Tuesday when we discuss starseeds. That'll be so much fun.
Yes, and love and peace to everybody.
Sending the unconditional love, unity consciousness to all of you out there. Have a wonderful rest of your weekend, and thanks again for joining us.
Thank you.